key for me. I personally believe the United States is a debt time bomb about to go off. People talk about Greece and Portugal and Spain and Ireland, but the country that we should really be worried about is the United States. In fact, story out, you'll see it in our newsletter, the U.S. government set a record deficit in February. The federal government in the United States recorded its worst monthly deficit in history, according to a preliminary report from the Congressional Budget Office. It's hard to believe, but the deficit in the fiscal year 2012 is already more than $500 billion. It's amazing. The CBO's figures show that despite repeated efforts to trim spending, the government has borrowed 42 cents of every dollar it spent during the first 5 months of this fiscal year. The nonpartisan agency projected the government will run a deficit of $229 billion in February, the highest monthly figure ever. The previous high was $223 billion 1 year ago. It's the 41st straight month that the U.S. government has run a deficit, itself a record that dates back to the final months of U.S. President George Bush's tenure. Before now, the longest streak on record was 11 months for all of the fiscal year 2012, which began October 1st. The budget analysts said the government has raised $869 billion in revenue but spent $1.5 trillion. The United States heavily in debt, and it gets better. Washington, they are going to be spending $5 trillion in interest payments. This is a CNN story. Read it in the newsletter. Interest rates on U.S. bonds may be ridiculously low, but that doesn't mean the country's future interest payments on national debt will be. Uncle Sam will shell out more than $5 trillion in interest payments over the next decade, according to the latest projections from the CBO. And you can read that story in our newsletter. You also have a pension crisis looming, student loans. There's delinquency there. You have a country that's bankrupt. You have states that are in trouble, like Illinois. You have cities like Jefferson County in Alabama. Detroit is in trouble. There are cities like Stockton in California in trouble. Then on top of it, there's a pension crisis. We've talked in the past about California being behind $500 billion on the pension promises they've made to their government employees. Harold, to me, and we have about 2 minutes left in our show here, to me this is one of the big issues going forward, and that's a real reason to own hard assets. It's a debt time bomb, and eventually it is going to go off.
You bet. And the fact is that this is all, again, backing up what we're saying about the U.S. elections and, why these numbers and everything come out. It's always to make things look better than they are and to distort the numbers and to distract you from what really is the situation. So there's just no doubt that nothing has changed. Things will get a lot worse after the elections, and the fact is that we just got to be smart about it. We got to be very conservative, no speculation, don't over-leverage anything, and the fact is that if you're in the hard asset market and you diversify yourself correctly, we're not only going to get out of this doing well, we're going to make a lot of money, and then we're going to be able to take advantage of tremendously undervalued markets. You see, every market has its time, and the fact is that back in the 90s, the stock markets were strong, and then you saw what happened in 1999. The markets totally plummeted. The NASDAQ went from 5,000 down to 1,000. Stocks like Nortel dropped from $125 down to 50 cents. Then we saw it again in 2008, where the markets dropped 50% or more. The Dow dropped from 14,000 to 6,500, and again, everybody got wiped out. 2013 could bring the exact same situation again. We do not want to fall into that situation one more time.